here's the kitchen, here's the top of the fridge, and oh, here's the top of the cabinets, and here's the bottom of the cabinets. But you can't move too fast or the hamster's going to fall right out of your hand. You got to like be intentional and gradual in all the ways you move it. It's so dumb. And then I tell them if they do it well, I will tell them the story about how I accidentally killed a hamster in 3rd grade, which is very tragic.
Which you're not going to tell right now.
No. And they get super into it. They really want to hear the story. And so we sing a passage and they move the hamster around wherever. And the way that they move long notes is so much better. And everybody laughs. And then you can do it again. And I can bribe them with the second story about how a hamster went up my pants in 3rd grade.
I haven't heard that story.
I'm saving it.
Wow.
I'm saving it for when they stop doing it and we have to do this again. But everyone has a tragic hamster story. Everyone. As soon as I told it, our accompanist came up to me and she told hers. And several other kids approached me, and just it seems like everybody has a tragic hamster story.
A hamster bit me on the finger, and I still have a mark from it. It's weird.
Are you serious?
Yeah, when I was 5.
That explains why you've got such hamster tendencies.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Choir Guys podcast, brought to you by Endeavor Music Publishing. My name is Blake Richter.
And I'm Danny Gutierrez.
Danny, it's been a while.
2 fingers.
I feel like there's some space in between us.
There is.
Like, why have we been
this
gone?
Beautiful microphone.
I know.
This beautiful, over-the-top, $50,000 microphone.
It's not that much.
How much does it cost?
It's not even $1,000. It just looks.
That's
beautiful.
a lot of money for a microphone.
I said it's not even $1,000.
Not even 1,000 is still implying that it's close to 1,000. That's a lot of money.
We've never been this far apart, and I feel.
How much did the microphone cost?
I'm not going to talk about it. Anyway, so we've been gone for a little bit, and the reason is because I adopted a beautiful little baby with my wife, and so we decided to take a break on doing the podcast for a while so that way I could get used to being a father, and that way Danny could get used to being an uncle.
True. But we've made it, I mean, we're kind of into the year now.
I know.
It's almost Thanksgiving.
I know. I feel bad that we haven't done anything, but nobody listens to this anyway.
That's true.
It's fine.
We're fine.
So those of you the 2 people that do listen, I'm sorry we've been gone. But we've got a doozy for you today. We are very excited to welcome another guest to our podcast, my co-teacher, Lauren Vomund.
Lauren is in her 10th year of teaching in direct 7th and 8th grade choir with Blake in our school district. She also serves as one of the vocal directors for the junior high and high school theater departments. In 2015, she graduated from the University of Missouri in Columbia, not to be confused with Columbia, where she received a Bachelor of Music Education and is currently pursuing her master's degree. Prior to her current position, she taught and directed choirs at Ozark Middle School and Willard Middle School. In 2021, her 7th grade treble choir was selected for performance at the Missouri Music Educators Association Conference.
Outside of teaching, Lauren performs with the Springfield Chamber Chorus, the Missouri Choral Artists, and the Queen City Chorale. Lauren also enjoys singing with the Springfield Shanty Choir alongside her wonderful husband, Sean.
Please welcome our friend and colleague, Lauren Vomund.
We've never had anyone else at this table before.
Wow, it's weird.
I'm
Never.
the first one.
You're the first one to sit at this table.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
I didn't get the jacket memo, though. I feel really
Yeah.
out of place.
Can you actually leave?
That's what I figured you would ask.
Is this considered a jacket, though?
Uh,
I guess you could say that.
Okay, so last time we had an episode, we said that we were going to talk about co-teaching, and Lauren and I have been co-teaching for the past year and a half. This is our 2nd school year co-teaching together, and we had kind of always dreamed of co-teaching together for at least the past few years, and then finally it happened, and it's just been such a joy. So stick around later in this episode, and we'll talk about our co-teaching and things that even if you are not a co-teacher, you don't have a co-teacher, you can apply these different things in your classroom. Now it's time for our first segment and our favorite segment that we've missed so much. Heck yeah!
Heck yeah!
So, Lauren, what are some of your little hacks in class that you would like to share that we've been implementing lately?
Well, we use a spreadsheet, like a Google Sheet, to do our weekly plans, which is great. That way we can both collaborate on it together, and then we kind of build our daily slides out of that weekly plan. And we just go over every single thing that we're supposed to hit for the day, because there's a lot. Like the warm-ups, the sight singing, what we're going to rehearse, announcements, who's the student of the week on Monday. Like there's just a billion things. Pizza party, which is happening Friday.
Tomorrow.
Who gets it and when to show up, just all the stuff. So we put all that on a slide for each class. And this year we added who's doing what, because if we don't add who's doing what, sometimes we both forget. And so it just kind of makes things go faster. And if you're not co-teaching, obviously a daily slide is really helpful. But if you are co-teaching, I've been a fan of it.
So like one of the reasons we brought it back this year is because there was one day, being on paternity leave and then coming back, my brain was just mushy. And I was just struggling for a while because I was just like, I miss my daughter. I'd like to be with her, but I also like these kids and I like my job and I like hanging out with these cool people, but I also miss my daughter and my wife. So my brain was just like weird. And there was one day that I like just needed some happiness from the girls in our 7th hour choir. And so I just kept warming them up. We were doing all these random games and I just kept going. And then I turned it over to you, and then I went to the restroom, and I came back, and there was like 1 minute left of class, and we didn't get to run any of our pieces. I was like, where did the time go? And Lauren just went, you warmed up for 40 minutes? And I was like, I did? And so that's why we implemented the slides like the next week. We had done it last year, but we were like, we're bringing them back so that way we know exactly what each person's going to do. Sometimes we put time limits on it as well because we were like, that should never happen again. And that was my bad. And I mean, we've both been guilty of it.
Yes.
And, I know Danny and I co-teach first hour, and sometimes I'm guilty of taking up too much of his time. He's guilty of taking up some of my time, and like it just happens. But the slides like keep it in order, which is beautiful. Danny, do you have a hack that you'd like to share?
Sure. So one of my favorite games to play in all of choir is, what's my favorite game?
Throw your friend under the bus.
That's my favorite game. So I've made a little bit of an adjustment on that. So I guess less traumatic probably for some. So throw your friend under the bus is when everyone gets their pointers ready and you say, all right, throw it. And whoever has the most fingers pointed at them, they have to sing alone. It's a sadistic game, but it's actually a lot of fun.
Basically, whoever feels the most targeted by their peers.
Yeah, it's great. So it's like Revenge City, but the kids kind of do it. They're like, oh, you called me out now. And then I let them pick someone else next. This one is more affirmative. It's called Build the Bus. This is how you play Build the Bus. First, there is an initial throw under the bus. So they all point at whoever they feel should be the first person to be thrown under the bus, normally a pretty proficient singer. And then that person builds the bus. So they don't have someone replace them. They just keep building it up. So that person who was chosen picks someone else, and then they have to sing with them until everyone is singing in the entire class. It's a good way to kind of start small, build small groups, and then grow into everybody.
Well, and also you can see like where it starts getting out of tune. Like if there's a student that gets added and then it's out of tune, it's like, oh,
we're missing a tire.
It's Josh. That's cool. Something that we started doing, actually, I think I started doing it my first year at the junior high that we teach at. They hand out our school pictures for some reason. There's like 8 school pictures that they hand out of us. And it's like, why would I want to keep this? I don't want this. I think it's stupid. I'm not going to give it to my mom and have her put it on the fridge. Like she's 63 years old. Sorry, Mom. That's not old. She plays pickleball like a boss. Lauren has seen.
Yep.
And my father as well. So 63, man, she makes 63 seem like 42. That's a very specific number.
It is, but I think it's
accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get the pictures and we cut them out and we kind of use it as an incentive. We might do it throughout an entire week or just one day and say like whoever does X, Y, and Z the best will get to take our photo and vandalize it in a school appropriate way. The reason I did this at first was because I hated my school photo and I thought I looked disgusting and I wanted them to make me look more beautiful. And so like I had them do that and they made me into like a cheerleader for, the East High Wildcats because they knew I loved High School Musical. Some people have made me into Shrek. Elvis. People have made you into elves, like an elf.
And Batman. And this year I'm a Teletubby in one. A pirate. It's fun.
I could see the pirate. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then our accompanist, she has some of the best ones I've ever seen.
They're iconic. She's Santa Claus in one. One, they didn't like touch her face or her hair. They just covered the background in glitter.
It's iconic.
And it's really well done.
And so we take all these and like if they're really really good, we put them around our clock as like a little display. And so I'll include a picture of it here if you're watching the video podcast. And it's just kind of a stupid thing that the kids really enjoy, and it gets them to do what we want as well. So it's slightly manipulative, but in a very beautiful way. Manipulation's beautiful when never mind. I'm going to stop that right there.
When it makes good singing,
Yes,
it's
that's
all
it.
worth it.
So Lauren and Blake,
Those are our names.
hello. So we are fortunate in our school district that we're faced with a lot of co-teaching. We have the opportunity to have a lot of co-teaching situations, which obviously, as you can imagine, is advantageous if you want singers to sing at a high level for many reasons. And for efficiency's sake, for productivity, it's a good thing. So we are in this unique position where we are co-teaching, and Lauren and Blake co-teach with each other, but we understand that most situations are not co-teaching situations. And I know that in a lot of situations, the choir director is typically on their own. Not only are they on their own, but they're also like choir director, accompanist, conductor,
Treasurer.
theater rehearsal
Yeah.
list. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So, so this is a unique situation, but I feel that we can take a lot of these concepts and apply it to our normal everyday relationships with colleagues, and just thinking about ways, kind of reconstructing how we view the classroom, and even utilizing students to kind of fill some of these roles too. I think there's something to say about that. So, so anyway, all that being said, we are here with the wonderful Lauren Vomund. So let's start by talking about co-teaching, and feel free to just share your thoughts. So first, how do you feel like a co-teaching model is beneficial compared to like a traditional teaching model of like the one person is everything in the show? So what positive impacts have you guys observed?
I think that when you have two people that have the same priorities, what you can do together for kids far exceeds what you could ever do alone. If you're aligned and you both know what you want, and it's, you know, it's aligned and it's similar, and then just the possibilities, everything we can provide for them it's wild. So that's been my favorite part of it, for sure. And I did teach alone for a very long time, and we all try to do all of the things all the time for the kids, but it's just impossible to get everything that we get when you're alone, you know. So
you're talking about productivity. Like productivity is a lot higher.
Productivity and like all the different opportunities you can provide for students. Like I never submitted students for SWACTA or ACDA honor choirs before because I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it. I couldn't work with students one-on-one as much. We couldn't assess one-on-one as much. And all of the ideas that you get when you put two heads together, the ideas that come forth that maybe would have come forth when you were alone, but maybe not.
They may have come, but you might not have been able to execute them.
Right. So it's just really, it's pretty. I'm grateful for it.
Well, and like in a logistical sense, just like practicality, like if you have to go to the restroom really bad,
Oh my gosh.
you just get to go. You say, hey, can you cover for a little bit? Now that's, a huge luxury of co-teaching. But another thing is like getting to talk with students. Like we sometimes have students that are just coming in and they're bawling, like it's middle school, and they're dealing with things. And
What did you do before that point? It's like, all right, go to the corner. I'll see you in a little
would
bit.
have my accompanist teach.
Yeah.
Or I would have to send them I'd have to call the counselor or call the office and have them come down and get them, because I wouldn't send them by themselves because I'd be concerned. But now we don't have to interrupt anybody else's days. Like, we can just take them into our office. We can talk to them while the other person, like, sometimes it takes the entire class.
So it's allowing you to establish relationships.
Yeah.
At a stronger level.
And like today, we had a student that I needed to talk with first hour. And so I said, Danny, while you're warming up, I'm going to take the kid aside and talk to him. And like, I got to do that. And if we weren't co-teaching, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to talk with that kid, or I would have had to ask him to meet after school, or I would have had to, just the list goes on and on.
It's kind of weird sometimes though, because I don't know if you notice this too, but sometimes like you'll go out with a student and then you come back to the class, then all of a sudden they're doing something completely random and crazy. You ever have moments like that? You're like, okay, beautiful. I'll be gone for a second. You come back and all of a sudden,
yes,
Blake's like standing up on a chair, getting ready to jump and doing something weird.
That happened today though with you. Like, you started giving kids random nicknames.
Oh yeah.
And I just came in and you were calling them names and they were just standing up like they knew that was their name. I was like, I was gone for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that happens.
For those of you who teach alone, something that I used to do in the past if a student was really upset, there are lots of little strategies you can give them. I would say, I'm going to be gone for 2 minutes, or just right over there for 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to memorize pages 1 through 3. Go.
Yeah. And
they would get in their section circles, and their section leaders would kind of lead that. There are like lots of last minute things you can do like that can keep them going, and some classes can handle that, but some can't. But it's really nice to be able to actually conference with a kid and take time.
Yeah. And what you disclosed right now is actually really practical if you think about it. So it's saying in a non-co-teaching situation, basically it's empowering the students to kind of play that role a bit. Mm-hmm. So they're still being productive, but you have an infrastructure in place where you may not have a teacher per se, but you have little aspiring teachers that are working with sections that allows you to have a little more freedom with your time, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they're learning a lot more than if you had to just teach it, section by section. They're all learning at the same time. And some of them are aspiring to be future teachers, which is fun. But yeah, that's some of the positive impacts that we've observed. Also, just like having a male voice and a treble voice, or like a tenor bass voice and a treble voice.
Yes.
So you're not modeling for the sopranos anymore?
Yeah, you
Sometimes
are.
I still do, just because it's out of habit.
Oh, you
and
have
then
a
I'm like,
lovely
why am I
voice.
doing this?
It's a lovely voice.
Too.
I'm like, Vovo, can you please do this instead of me? But out of like, sometimes, and then if we're doing sectionals, like I have to model it for them because she's got one section and I don't. That's another thing, is like the ability to have sectionals and not have to have students lead it. No, sometimes it's beneficial to do that, but with middle schoolers, it's not always beneficial to do that. And then not having our accompanists have to lead sectionals is also nice because they don't get paid to do that. Which we also recognize the complete luxury of having an accompanist as well all day long.
In addition to 2 teachers, yeah.
So it's just, we're thankful for our district and the support that they provide. But there are ways to make it around all those things, which is make practice tracks and then have kids go and listen on their devices. And that way, that's how they're doing sectionals. They're doing it on their own, but you are leading it technically through recordings. And then with an accompanist, hopefully a lot of districts are at least providing you with an accompanist for your concerts, and maybe they could come in like one time and record all the different pieces, and then you're able to just play that recording. Or some people have fancy keyboards that you're able to play different parts, and you can just kind of go through the brain of the keyboard and say, I want to play the soprano part of this, and you take away the alto part or whatever. So some people can get fancy, but it's so much extra work, and so that's it takes so much more work to do all that, and we bow down to everyone that has to do that.
Well, another thing to consider too, like in a very practical way, like the reason why, let's say your current position, the reason why there are 2 there is because of the framework that was there to begin with, right? So This is not a normal situation. We're talking about a junior high program with over 300 students actively in the program. When there's over 300 students, there's a lot of leverage there. You can leverage it for another instructor for just like mere supervision needs, and that was a big way.
Like every other teacher has 120 students to give grades to, and at that point I had 290 and I was like, can I have help, please?
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the planning process. One of the things that I find interesting just looking in on it is the creativity in the planning process. You have such interesting things, and I know it's a byproduct of both of your experiences culminating together, but I also feel like you make kind of random cool stuff up on the spot too. So can you describe your planning process and what you've done, and how you collaborate actively to design lessons that are engaging for students?
Yeah, I think Lauren hit on this a little bit earlier about our spreadsheet that we use. When you have multiple people in the classroom, it's imperative that you're able to communicate and collaborate on what we're doing every single day, putting it on those slides so that way everybody knows what we're doing, and the students know what we're doing too when it's on the slides, which is nice. So there's this spreadsheet that I found. I found the idea on TikTok where like you color code each class and you have like one page that is the entire week, and each column is a different day and each row is a different class, and you just put what's on the plan. It's pretty simple. You just do bullet points. It's not like whenever you're an undergrad and you have to do like a 5-page lesson plan where you're putting all the standards and everything. Like, it's nothing like that.
What are the essential standards for this lesson?
Bro, I don't even know. But it's not like that. But we have that spreadsheet that is just super, super important for us to be able to plan. Usually we'll divvy up how we do the plans. Like, I'll take on some classes and Lauren will take on some classes. Do you want to talk about that? But at the same time, we collaborate.
Yeah, we try to divvy it up sometimes, but we each conduct pieces with each class. So like, I'll ask Blake, hey, I'm thinking the kids need to do Festeo on these 2 days. Do you agree with that? And he'll say, yeah, I do. And, or I'll say, for treble, I'm thinking this for your piece. Like, we're going to put your piece down a couple days. And he'll say, yes or no, we need to do it. So we do collaborate and try to take ownership of the different classes, but we both need to have input.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And then when it comes to like some of the creative stuff, kids started bringing me ducks a long time ago. And I don't know why. One kid brought me a duck one time and I like made a big deal out of it, and I put it like up on the projector screen, like kind of up on a pedestal, and did this whole like routine, like a dance routine, and like it was like this whole duck ceremony. And so then because I did that, because I made that huge mistake, now we have hundreds of ducks in our classroom. And so like when Lauren came, she's like, well, I have to do something during the duck ceremony.
Can't just stand
so
there.
She had the idea of
bubble gun and just like the music's going and Richter's dancing around and putting the duck on the shelf, and I'm just Bubble City. Or when the bubbles are out, I just take a streamer and do an interpretive dance.
Yeah.
It's
pretty great.
It's pretty fun.
So there's just a lot of things that, you come up with on the spot, and then, things that I've done for years that I've now changed, or things that she's done for years that she's now changed, just because we do the same thing, but we do it just slightly differently. And so you learn from each other that way too. Mm-hmm. Another creative thing is we make rap videos and we collaborate on lyrics and collaborate on those things. If you'd like to see some of those, here they are.
You should join choir. Yo, my name is Mr. Richter.
And I'm Mrs. Vomund.
If you join choir,
Then we'll get to show you
all the rhythms
the harmonies.
and other things too. The only thing that's missing from a choir is you. If you like to sing songs, then you should join choir. You need a place to belong, then you should join choir. If you like to play sport, then you should join choir. If you like to wear shorts, then you should join choir. If you ever been to France, then you should join choir. If you really like to dance, then you should join choir. If you're terrified of bees, then you should join choir. Even if you sing off key, then you should join choir. If your favorite food is taco, then you should join choir. If you own a pair of chacos, then you should join choir. If you have a pet sheep, then you should join choir. If your parents drive a Jeep, then you should join choir. If you've ever lost a tooth, then you should join choir. If your grandma's name is Ruth, then you should join choir. If you're tired of the song, then you should join choir.
Yeah, I think they get it. Anyway, we hope you join choir. Here we go!
The math test is coming up. Are you prepared?
If you listen to us, there's no need to be scared.
Whether science,
Math,
or ELA,
if you follow these steps, you're bound to slay.
Step 1. Charge your Chromebook every night.
So I would say that every, teaching method has its hurdles, right? So what challenges do you feel that you guys have faced in co-teaching, and how did you work together to overcome them?
You go.
Okay.
Because I'm a lot to handle.
I never co-taught before my current district, and I felt like, I don't know why I thought this, because I know kids, but we all mess up. I kind of thought that I would need to teach more like Blake. I would need to be more like him so that the kids would accept me. And that's just not true. Students adapt to your style and your rhythm and your strategies. They just do. And they can do that even when there's multiple people in front of them. And so just trusting the kids and learning that I need to, learn from Blake and what he's doing, but also be my authentic self, because kids can sense inauthenticity, and it's just more fun to be yourself. And I think that if you're not co-teaching, that advice carries over. If you're watching this honor choir clinician or someone that is amazing and you want to learn from them, but you can't be just like them. You do have to be yourself and make it your own. If you're getting great advice from some teacher and you feel overwhelmed because you're like, oh, I could never do that. How are they doing that? You can, and maybe you just do it in a different way, in your own way. So just remembering to be authentic to yourself is important for everybody.
One of our friends that we just keep talking about on this podcast is Jerry Scott. And he was like, when you go into a co-teaching situation, it's so important to just be honest with each other, even if it's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, whenever I did that 40-minute warm-up time that one day, I did feel uncomfortable that I had made you upset. I mean, you weren't upset, but it was just like it wasn't what you were expecting.
Right.
And
it's
your expectation was here, and then what I did was just all the way over here. And so, but the thing that I was so thankful for is that we had both been told that advice from Jerry, and you were super honest with me, and you're like, yeah, you didn't have to do that. Like, we need to start setting a timer. And I like apologize. And you're like, it's fine, but we just need to change that in the future. And so just being honest with any colleague that you have is so important. You can't just hold the things in, because if you're open and honest with each other, that's super important. When Danny and I co-taught the past 4 years together, I'd say this year has been our best year co-teaching together.
But it's always been easy. Like, we never really had to make adjustments.
No, like, it's always,
there's a general understanding. We just know what to, even sometimes, like, there'll be a situation, we'll look at each other and be like, we know exactly what's happening here. And we know where this, like, how many times have, like, I haven't said something, but something totally random, I'm about to say it, and you know exactly what I'm going to say when it happens. This has happened very frequently, hasn't it?
Like daily.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it's weird. When you co-teach, there's always going to be certain things that are tough. And like Lauren and I have had some things that have been tough that we've had to be open and honest about, and we've had to have uncomfortable conversations about just a few various things. And then Danny and I have had to do that too. And Danny last year, he finally said, and this like changed my view on co-teaching. He was like, when you co-teach with somebody, you have to treat every conversation and everything as if you're a married couple. Like, how you have conversations, like if you're going to argue or anything, you got to like step back, take a breath, have the hard conversation, but let the other person talk as well. And not be the married couple that's throwing the hairdryer at each other. So that's what Danny said about me. Yeah, you said to me, you were like, we have to treat it like we're a married couple. Which, I mean,
was I saying that specific because I wanted you to treat me like a married?
I think so.
Okay.
No, I would never say that to Lauren. Like, we need to.
I feel like a third wheel right now.
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, that's how you have to treat co-teaching relationships, is like how you would treat the most delicate relationship, because you go to work with them every single day and you want to keep that relationship strong, because when it's not strong, it's not good for the kids. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't only go for co-teaching, but just any of your colleagues, because they're going to know. They're not stupid. Like, kids aren't, well, some of them are stupid, but most of them are not stupid. They're going to know what's up.
Okay, so I think one of the most powerful things that I can think of about co-teaching is how you're able to break the classroom apart, right? So you're taking something that sometimes can be overwhelming, especially if you have a decent sized choir. How do we make this more manageable and better for student learning, right? So for you guys, how do you utilize this co-teaching to evaluate students and differentiate learning so that everyone's learning as much as they can?
Sectionals are great with multiple people. Like we said before, it's wonderful to have student-led sectionals, but it doesn't always work. And it's usually, more beneficial to have the teacher leading. And we're able to, if Blake is working on his piece with a class, and if he's working on a piece, I'm usually sitting with whichever part needs more help and singing with them to provide support and provide a good model. And he does the same thing. And if one of us are sitting there and we hear someone who needs support with pitch, do you call it pitch awareness?
I have said that, yes.
Yeah, I've always called it pitch accuracy. I like pitch awareness more. When they need help with pitch awareness, we can pull them into the side room and just give a little one-on-one coaching. We keep it really positive, like, hey, you've got this beautiful tone and you've got a strong voice. We're just talking intonation here. And we always approach it with like an intonation mindset so that the student doesn't immediately shut down like, oh, I'm doing everything wrong. And we can just check in with them and work with them and get them singing in the bullseye. And that's really nice because before I would have to write advisory passes for students, and sometimes they'd be able to come and get coaching. Other times they're retaking a test or they have something else going on. So it's been wonderful to be able to do that in class.
Yeah, and also if you're ever doing like a singing assessment where you're like having a small group sing something for you and you're grading them on it. In the past, when I taught by myself, I had to have all the other students work on something else, like have an activity on Canvas or on, your online learning management system, and then work with the small groups by myself up in the front. And now, like, one of us can be teaching a piece while the other one is pulling the small groups out. Even solo auditions. Today during class, solo auditions take forever in front of the whole class, which we love, getting to have the students sing in front of the whole class, giving them that opportunity. But sometimes when like you have, 7 more rehearsals until the concert, like, you just need to keep going on some stuff. So like Lauren took solo auditions out while I was teaching another thing. Actually, I was auditioning for small group stuff for another piece. So you're able to do 2 things at once, and you're able to assess different students. First hour, Danny's always pulling kids.
Poopology.
Yeah.
Poopology.
Especially in the bass section.
Let's talk about poopology.
I think it's your baby. You need to talk about poopology.
So we get these poop emoji like stuff things, right?
Well, I mean, it was there. Like, I inherited that when I came to the junior high. Sure. You had purchased them, and
well, I don't think I purchased them. I think it was given to me.
Okay.
And then we just.
But it's been beautiful.
It's a thing. Anyway, yeah. So basically, I think one year there was just a lot of kids that weren't anywhere close. They just weren't. They weren't singing into it at all. So what we did was we did some sort of short evaluation on them to find out who were the kids that are really good at matching pitch, who are the kids that are not as good. And then anyone that scored a certain score or below, we broke apart the class, because often, when you're singing in a class and then you hear just those stragglers, that random low pitch, it just kind of drives you insane sometimes. So
I enjoy it.
You enjoy it? Okay, I figured so much. So basically anyone who scored below a certain point, we had them participate in poopology. Poopology was this: we went into another room and we had a song. It was like, poopology. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I sing it every night.
I figured. And then we sing the song, and then we do it, and we go through a passage, and we have like poopology graduation too. If you want to graduate from poopology, you have to do this passage in tune. So we just go to each person. Next. Then we have a poopology graduation ceremony as well.
Do they wear a crap and gown?
I like where you went with that. That was good.
Sorry.
Yes.
This is also the beauty of co-teaching, is just getting to laugh at all the stupid puns.
Crap and gowns. Poopology was good stuff.
Yeah. It was best whenever it was during COVID. There was not much that was good about the COVID year, but getting to anoint them with hand sanitizer.
Yes.
That was a good time.
That was a good time. So last question. So I know for myself personally, co-teaching was a bit to get adjusted to. So I came from a middle school program and did everything. So you were just used to being everything to the students, right? You know, you're the show, you're the mentor, you're all this stuff. And then when I started co-teaching, it was just something I had to get used to. You know, I had to get used to making sure everyone was included in the show, in the classroom, teachers, students alike. So I'm interested in what ways has co-teaching influenced your professional growth and even teaching philosophy? You know, how has it changed your approach in the classroom?
I used to think that I was pretty aware of my strengths and my weaknesses, and then co-teaching makes you even more aware of it because you see your co-teacher doing the things that they're really good at that you're not. And it's just a really big blessing to be able to watch this person do that every day, and it makes you better. You're still not on the same level as them, but it's like a little mini PD session every day for you when it comes to that specific skill. So that's really, really cool. And I agree, Danny, it was weird to go from being the whole thing to not in a bad way. It's just different. So
It's like an on-off switch. And what I mean by that is like when you're in front of the choir, like you used to have to always be on.
yeah,
And like we're still always on. Maybe it's more of a dimmer.
that's a good way to put it.
More of a dimmer because like when you're in front of the class and you're conducting, boom, it's got to be all the way up. Mm-hmm. But when you're not conducting and you're the co-teacher and you're singing with the kids in the choir, or you're taking roll, or you're handling other things and giving kids cough drops or Band-Aids or, you know, all the other things, or taking kids into a sectional or taking kids in for an assessment or whatever, you can dim it down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it actually saves your energy a little bit at the end of the day, which is beautiful.
It
So that's kind of
does.
off topic.
No, it does. And then in both of you saving energy, you have more bandwidth to do, like we said before, just more things that benefit the students. And you learn about your students and your choir in a different way when you sit with them and someone else is in front. So it's been kind of eye-opening for me, the tendencies and things that the choir will do and all the little things that are hard to see when you're in front of them. I'm not talking misbehavior even necessarily. Just the way they interact with each other. You see even more of the little awesome things they do for each other. Like, I don't know, I saw a student drop something. It was her pencil pouch or something. She dropped it, and the kid in the row behind her just immediately leaned forward, picked it up, and tapped her on the shoulder and made sure that she got it back because she didn't even know that it had fallen out of her bag. And I don't know if I would have seen that if I was on in front. Yeah. I feel like I can see more. My view is a lot wider.
I know I've learned a crap ton from Lauren. Like I've always been a tenor bass voice teaching treble voices, which has been difficult. And then being able to hear, her techniques and her ways of talking about pedagogy and all that kind of stuff has just changed the game. There was even something like, it was like 2 days in a row a few weeks ago. I was just dying laughing at how you were teaching phrasing, and you talked about your little hamster
house tour.
Like, you have to talk about that right now. It's the most beautiful thing ever.
So
and I was just
stupid.
dying because it was genius, and it was like I was attending a session at a state conference, but I was just in my classroom with you. So talk about the hamster thing. It's beautiful.
It's very dumb, but kids like it. And so I teach them about always moving the note somewhere. Any sustained note has to either grow or decay or even spin or shimmer. It has to do something. It can't just sit. So pretend that you have this new, I can't believe I'm talking about this new pet hamster, and you really want to show it all around your house. And if you just walk around your house and you're like, this is the kitchen, and you stay there. This is the living room, and you stay there. This hamster is going to fall asleep. But you have to be like,
die.
Here's the kitchen, here's the top of the fridge, and oh, here's the top of the cabinets, and here's the bottom of the cabinets. But you can't move too fast or the hamster's gonna fall right out of your hand. You gotta like be intentional and gradual in all the ways you move it. It's so dumb. And then I tell them if they do it well, I will tell them the story about how I accidentally killed a hamster in 3rd grade, which is very tragic.
Which you're not going to tell right now.
No. And they get super into it. They really want to hear the story. And so we sing a passage and they move the hamster around wherever. And the way that they move long notes is so much better. And everybody laughs. And then you can do it again. And I can bribe them with the second story about how a hamster went up my pants in 3rd grade.
I haven't heard that story.
I'm saving it.
Wow.
I'm saving it for when they stop doing it and we have to do this again.
Maybe that's in February.
3rd grade was a time.
Yeah, we know they watch the show, so you don't want to give it away now.
Yeah, that's right.
So you don't want to tell the story of 3rd grade accidentally killing the hamster?
No. You'll have to be in one of my choirs if you want to hear it.
Darn, it's a good story.
It's terrible.
You're like, I don't want that to be on the internet for years.
But everyone has a tragic hamster story. Everyone. As soon as I told it, our accompanist came up to me and she told hers. And several other kids approached me, and just it seems like everybody has a tragic hamster
A
story.
hamster bit me on the finger, and I still have a mark from it. It's weird.
Are you serious?
Yeah, when I was 5.
That explains why you've
lot.
got such hamster tendencies.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Now you have a daughter. She's going to have a hamster someday, and you're going to have a story.
I don't think she's going to have a hamster.
You wait.
I have a feeling I can control that, right? Like, that's how that works, right? I can decide if
Not
she wants a
always.
hamster.
So, real quick, before we go, I want to put this co-teaching stuff to the test. I want to see how well you know each other. Are you ready?
I am not ready.
Oh, no.
So, we're going to start with more telepathic questions.
Got it.
Ready? Number 1 to 10. When I say go, you say the number. Ready, set, go.
6.
7.
Dang it, that was my first.
Close.
That was my first
You
choice.
doubted yourself.
And I was like, no, she's going 6.
Dogs or cats? Ready, set, go.
Dogs. And Moe's and
Phoebe.
hers is Moe's, mine is Phoebe.
That's
Pancakes or waffles? Ready, set, go.
Pancakes.
Waffles.
do
No!
suck.
Syrup traps.
No. Pancakes. Which actually, I would argue that me liking pancakes and you liking waffles better. It actually benefits because then we're not trying to fight over food at work. So it's beneficial.
Yes.
What if we thought of our favorite piece that we're teaching right now?
Ooh. Hang on. Oh, gosh.
I know what yours is.
You
No.
do?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah, you say what hers is, and she'll say what yours is.
Yeah, but we have to say it at the same time.
Okay.
So are we saying what mine is?
You're going to
first?
say what you think his favorite
Okay.
piece is, and he's going to say what he thinks your favorite
Oh,
piece
I
is.
don't know what mine is, but I know what hers is.
Well, she'll let
need
you
to figure
know.
out what mine is.
Here we go.
Wait, I don't know.
I think I know what mine is now.
I think I know yours.
All right,
I
ready?
think I know mine. You should
I'm
know.
going to say ready, set, go, and we'll go for it. Well, you just gave it to her then, because you're smiling. You said no from Friday. It's a very specific
I don't remember what
comment.
happened last Friday.
All right, let's just go for it. Ready, set, go.
Donkey riding. Yeah!
Okay, I know yours.
I don't even know mine. I think maybe I know.
You do. Think of the song that has brought you the most joy lately.
Oh, goodness.
You're okay.
Think of the joy.
He keeps using the word joy over and over again. I feel like it has something specifically to do with that.
Stop reading into it.
Okay, I think I know my favorite.
I think you're just trying to downplay the fact that you were giving it away.
No.
All right.
We don't speak in code.
It's fine. Ready?
We kind of do.
Okay, ready, set, go.
Showdown.
Shut up.
What did you
That's
say?
not
What
even
were you
true.
saying?
Does the world say?
Oh my God, I forgot. No.
Why don't I know you better than you know yourself?
Does the world say really your favorite piece?
I forgot we were working on that because I've been so focused on Showdown because it's hard with all the choreography.
You're wrong.
Yeah, Does the World Say is my favorite one.
You guys passed. That's pretty good. That's pretty good stuff.
I'm
right
embarrassed.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode of The Choir Guys. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube to The Choir Guys channel so you can know when new episodes are coming out. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Once again, The Choir Guys is brought to you by Endeavor Music. Make sure to browse their website before programming music for your next concert.
You can follow the show on all social media at The Choir Guys Pod to catch bonus content throughout the week. Feel free to message us through the platforms if you want to hear us talk about something specific on the show.
Thanks, Lauren, for being our guest.
Woo! Be
Thank
our
you.
guest, be our guest. We just conducted Beauty and the Beast.
Also, tune in next time for a discussion regarding what to do after the concert is over.
What do you do?
What do you do?
No, whatever. Thanks for watching. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Here is Billie Eilish singing right now.
See you next month on the choir, guys.
Wow.
I don't know.
That was so good.